The one guest didn't go to John Wayne's funeral. John Wayne was born Marion Robert Morrison on May 26, 1907, in Winterset, Iowa, and stands as one of the most iconic and enduring figures in American cinema. His name is synonymous with rugged masculinity, bravery, and the archetypal American hero. John Wayne's journey to stardom began in humble surroundings. Raised in the small town of Winterset, Iowa, Wayne's early years were marked by modest means and a close-knit family environment. His father, Clyde Morrison, was a pharmacist, and his mother, Mary Brown Morrison, was a homemaker. The family moved to California when Wayne was in his teens, seeking better economic opportunities. It was during these formative years that Wayne's passion for the American West and its rugged ideals began to take shape. Wayne attended Glendale High School, where he participated in sports and developed a love for film. He was a standout athlete, excelling in football and swimming. His interest in movies led him to work as a prop boy and extra in silent films, a job that would eventually open doors to more significant roles. He attended the University of Southern California on a football scholarship, but his aspirations in acting soon overshadowed his athletic career. John Wayne's entry into Hollywood was marked by a series of small roles and bit parts. His early work in films such as The Big Trail, 1930, showcased his potential but did not immediately catapult him to fame. It wasn't until the 1930s and 1940s that Wayne began to establish himself as a leading man, thanks to his collaborations with directors such as John Ford. Ford's films, including Stagecoach, 1939, played a pivotal role in shaping Wayne's career and solidifying his status as a cinematic icon. During this period, Wayne's distinctive screen presence, deep voice, and commanding demeanor made him a natural fit for roles that celebrated American ideals and heroism. His portrayal of rugged cowboys and tough, principled men resonated with audiences and became a defining characteristic of his career. The 1950s and 1960s marked the peak of John Wayne's career. Films like The Searchers, 1956, True Grit, 1969, and The Green Berets, 1968, showcased his versatility and solidified his status as a Hollywood legend. Wayne's performance in True Grit earned him the Academy Award for Best Actor, a testament to his exceptional talent and enduring appeal. His portrayal of Rooster Cogburn, a tough and weathered U.S. Marshal, exemplified his ability to bring depth and authenticity to his characters. Wayne's commitment to his roles and his dedication to his craft earned him the respect of his peers and the admiration of audiences. His collaborations with acclaimed directors and actors contributed to his legendary status and cemented his place in the annals of film history. His passing on June 11, 1979, was marked by a long and painful battle with cancer, a disease he had fought bravely for many years. His death was not just the end of a beloved actor's life, but the culmination of a difficult struggle that mirrored the strength and stoicism he had so often portrayed in his films. John Wayne had been diagnosed with lung cancer in 1964, which led to the removal of one of his lungs and several ribs. He publicly spoke about his condition, inspiring many with his resilience. He continued to work, even as his health deteriorated, embodying the toughness that had made him famous. However, by the late 1970s, the cancer had returned, this time in the form of stomach cancer, and it began to take a heavy toll on his body. Despite undergoing surgery and treatment, Wayne's condition worsened and the cancer spread. His larger-than-life image was juxtaposed with the frailty of a man facing the inevitable end of his life, and this contrast made his passing all the more poignant for those who had admired his strength. Wayne's final days were spent at the UCLA Medical Center in Los Angeles, surrounded by his family and loved ones. His body, once the epitome of vigor and strength, had been ravaged by illness, and the man who had been a symbol of American heroism and independence became a tragic figure battling immense physical pain. The image of John Wayne, bedridden and weak, was heartbreaking for those who had seen him as the embodiment of resilience. His family was there to comfort him, but they could do little to alleviate his suffering. The hospital room was a stark reminder that even the greatest heroes are not immune to the ravages of time and illness. In his final moments, Wayne was reportedly at peace, though the pain and weakness had overwhelmed him. He slipped into a coma a few days before his death, and his body finally gave out. The tragic irony of John Wayne's death was that it came at the hands of a disease he had once beaten, only for it to return with a vengeance. His passing marked the end of an era in Hollywood, as the world said goodbye to one of its most beloved stars. His death was mourned not only by his family but by millions of fans who had grown up watching him portray the quintessential American hero, and who saw his fight with cancer as another chapter in his life of courage and determination. Wayne's death was not just tragic because of the physical suffering he endured, but also because of what he represented to the American public. His struggle with cancer humanized him in a way that few of his roles had done, showing that even the most seemingly invincible individuals are vulnerable. His death was a sobering reminder of the inevitability of mortality, no matter how strong or courageous one may seem. In the wake of his passing, tributes poured in from around the world, with fans, colleagues, and even political figures mourning the loss of a man who had become a cultural icon. In the end, John Wayne's death was as tragic as it was inevitable, marked by the painful reality of illness and the emotional weight of saying goodbye to a man who had come to symbolize strength, courage, and resilience. His final moments were a reflection of the personal battles he fought away from the spotlight, and his death left a void in the world of cinema that has never truly been filled. John Wayne's funeral, held on June 15, 1979, was a solemn and emotional event, befitting one of Hollywood's greatest icons. The star of countless westerns and war films, Wayne was not only a symbol of rugged American individualism but also a beloved figure who left a lasting impact on the film industry and his fans. As with any major public figure, Wayne's death drew attention from all corners, but there was one guest at his funeral that shocked many attendees, stirring rumors and speculation as to why this person had shown up. Before diving into the unexpected guest, it's crucial to understand why Wayne's funeral attracted such significant attention. Born Marion Robert Morrison in 1907, Wayne had a film career spanning 5 decades, during which he became synonymous with the Western genre. Films like Stagecoach, 1939, The Searchers, 1956, and True Grit, 1969, not only showcased his acting prowess but also helped define American cinema's portrayal of rugged masculinity. His gravelly voice, towering stature, and the way he portrayed morally strong, independent men made him a hero to many. Beyond film, Wayne's political views, especially his staunch support of conservative causes and his firm anti-communist stance, made him both an admired and polarizing figure. He was not just an actor, he was a cultural icon, with a fanbase that crossed political lines, despite his often vocal opinions. Given his stature, Wayne's funeral was bound to attract numerous celebrities, politicians, and admirers. Attended by over 200 people, it was a private yet star-studded affair. Figures like Elizabeth Taylor, Frank Sinatra, and Ronald Reagan, who had once co-starred with Wayne and shared his political ideologies, were among the expected guests. Wayne's family, including his 7 children, were also present to bid farewell to the man who had loomed large in their personal lives. With such an array of high-profile attendees, the presence of one individual caused a stir, not only for who they were but also because of their historical and personal connection to Wayne. The surprise guest. A long-standing rival or a former friend? One of the most surprising attendees at Wayne's funeral was Clint Eastwood, another Hollywood legend and a fellow star of Western films. Although not necessarily considered a rival in the traditional sense, Eastwood represented a newer, grittier type of Western hero, one who became famous for his morally ambiguous characters in films like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, 1966, and A Fistful of Dollars, 1964. Though Wayne actively campaigned for the title role in Dirty Harry, 1971, Warner Brothers decided that at 63 he was too old, and cast the 41-year-old Clint Eastwood. Whereas Wayne's westerns often depicted clear-cut heroes and villains, Eastwood's roles, particularly in Sergio Leone's spaghetti westerns, were darker, with more nuance and complexity. There had long been whispers of professional tension between the two, with Wayne reportedly disliking the direction Eastwood was taking the genre. Rumor had it that Wayne had once written Eastwood a letter criticizing his portrayal of violence and cynicism in High Plains Drifter, 1973, a film Wayne found morally repugnant. Given this backdrop, many were surprised to see Eastwood at Wayne's funeral, given their supposed differences. Despite their rumored tension, Clint Eastwood's presence at John Wayne's funeral could be seen as a mark of respect for the elder statesman of the Western genre. Wayne, after all, had laid the groundwork for stars like Eastwood to build upon. In many ways, Wayne represented the old guard of Hollywood, where morality was black and white, while Eastwood heralded a new era of complexity and moral ambiguity. By attending the funeral, Eastwood may have been acknowledging that, despite their creative differences, Wayne was still a towering figure in American cinema who had opened doors for generations of actors to come. Additionally, Wayne's ability to stand firm in his political and personal convictions, no matter how divisive, likely resonated with Eastwood, who would go on to be similarly outspoken in his career. Beyond professional rivalry or admiration, it's also possible that Eastwood attended Wayne's funeral out of personal respect and as a nod to the close-knit nature of Hollywood. Actors who work within the same genres often form a type of unspoken bond, despite their differences. Both Wayne and Eastwood had experienced the highs and lows of the entertainment industry and had carved out unique places for themselves within it. In that light, Eastwood's presence could have been a way of honoring not just Wayne the actor, but Wayne the man, a fellow journeyman in the world of film. While Clint Eastwood's presence at Wayne's funeral garnered attention, there were also other notable surprises in terms of attendance, or the lack thereof. Katharine Hepburn, who had a famous working relationship with Wayne after starring with him in Rooster Cogburn, 1975, was conspicuously absent. Hepburn, known for her strong personality and independence, had developed a deep mutual respect for Wayne during their time together, and her absence sparked rumors. Some speculated that her health or her aversion to public displays of grief may have been the reason. On the other hand, unexpected attendees included figures from Wayne's past, such as ex-wives or former co-stars with whom he hadn't been publicly associated in years. These surprise appearances added to the layers of intrigue surrounding the event. The presence of Clint Eastwood at John Wayne's funeral signified more than just the closing of a chapter in Wayne's life and career. It was also symbolic of the passing of the torch from one era of filmmaking to another. Wayne's larger-than-life portrayal of American values, particularly in the Western genre, was fading, and Eastwood's more cynical, morally complex characters were the new archetypes. This was not just a funeral for a man, but a signal of the end of an era in Hollywood. By attending, Eastwood may have been signaling his acknowledgement of Wayne's irreplaceable role in shaping that era, even as he became the face of its evolution.